Hello and welcome to EZChat Live. And today is a very special one. We're not going to be talking about the business, but we're going to be talking about something very important to mind while you are promoting your business, and this is yourself. And the best person that I know to talk about this right now is Joy Idries. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Juliette.
Did I mispronounce your name?
Idris.
Idris. I'm so sorry. I'm name dyslexic. You can feel free to mispronounce my name just as much as I do.
But Juliette Stapleton.
Exactly. That's it. Anyway. I just before we went on to this, I said, Joy interviewed me earlier today for her business page, and it was a great interview. And I spoke a lot, so I said to her, "Look, now it's your turn." And she says, "No, I think you're gonna jump in." And I feel like I'm already taking over because I can tell you a story about names. There's people who are name dyslexic, and I read recently, I heard somewhere that if you are name dyslexic, you actually just don't put importance to a name. It doesn't matter what it's called as long as the essence is what you love.
Isn't that a lovely message today?
And I think it's true.
Essence.
This is my fourth name in my life. And you can call me anything. It doesn't matter to me, but I do identify with this name so much more than ever before. So I'm just saying. So let's go past that. And this is what we're going to talk today about, is how we mind ourselves and how we look after ourselves, and how important it is to find that inner peace with you, and especially in this busy life that we have. And if you are an entrepreneur watching this, you know how much you're hustling, you know how much energy, learning, doing, following up, and everything is taking. A lot of your personal energy is going into your business. It's the case for me. Therefore, it's so important to take care of the inner, that stem you have. It has to be strong and it has to be at peace. So Joy is someone who has a real talent of seeing into people, recognizing what they need to change maybe, and how they can do it, and how they can come back to this present moment, be whole, feeling whole, don't feel overwhelmed, and yet do it in a very light way, that is not becoming overwhelming in its own right. Am I
I think a lot of the people that I've come across online since I've been putting my message out there are people who have got a message that they want to share, and it's a big message, and it's something that they're very passionate about, something that it gets them in touch with their greatness, if you like. However, what they've got in the way of that are habits and conditioned learnings and mindsets that are kind of blocking them expressing who they truly are, and really opening to the abundance that's available for them. So, for example, you were talking about, the entrepreneurs they're very busy, that are doing task after task after task, whole list that never finishes. As soon as you finish one, you've got another one coming on the list. And very often we don't give ourselves the time and the rest that we need. And that can often come from having low self-worth, and we're kind of not recognizing it. We're kind of jumping on this vision, this goal that we have of, getting our message out there so much that we're actually forgetting ourselves. And there's a little, person inside of us that's going, "Hey, wait a minute, what about me? Please nurture me." And so, it's difficult to say, give yourself time and put some time aside for yourself. I mean, coaches are telling us that all the time. However, it's the motivation to do that. Where's that coming from? It's not just to impose this schedule on yourself and include yourself in the schedule. No, it's getting in touch with yourself so that you're connected with your joy and connected with your resilience, connected with your inner wisdom and your clarity, and the motivation wells up from inside, because we're naturally, when we're not getting ourselves in the way, we are naturally magnificent and exuberant and full of joy and full of love and full of peace, and we can actually let that flow if we surrender to that, connect to it and surrender to it. It will flow out in a way that's not struggle, in a way that's not controlling, that's not dominating, that's not setting a schedule that feels like we're in prison somehow. It naturally flows. Yes, we do things, of course. We need to set tasks and schedules, but we're not connected to it in such a way that it's become like heavy chains or prison or burden. It's very important that we get that connection inside of ourselves. And probably, I would say that is of prime importance before we even start putting our message out there. We need to know who we are really, what is our truth, what is our greatness, and not only know it here, but we need to bring ourselves to our heart and connect in a way that it becomes easy. We don't want our life, our business, our relationships to be struggle. We don't want our health to be struggle. We want things to be easy. And easy doesn't mean that we're copping out or anything. It just means that this is one of the higher energies. When we're in flow, when we're in abundance, when we're connected to love, everything becomes easy. So, this is where I'm at. I'm at helping people at that stage of connect with yourself first, connect with your greatness. And we can do it in a very playful way, because playfulness itself is about connecting to the higher energies. I'm really, into doing things playfully. A bit seriousness is a serious disease of the ego. We need to move away from that and actually start being playful. It's okay to put your message out there in a playful way. It's okay to have fun with putting your message out there. It doesn't have to be this serious mindset, So
but children are not serious. Children are not serious. Children are the purest. Exactly. Yeah. When we're young and we're pure, and the seriousness only comes like in our late teens, really. Well, if things are good, sometimes a bit early, but really, like, I'm looking at my daughter, and she's 17 now, and she's still quite playful, and she's still, not that serious. But the warning signs are there already, and I can see that. I watched an amazing program. I think it was BBC about how when we actually grow older. And, it was a program about people in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and how we go back to that playfulness. And that actually is very fulfilling. So I'm looking forward to that age, to be honest with you. I intend to go and just get rid of all that seriousness as soon as I get a chance. Because
and we can do it earlier than the 70s, definitely.
Oh, you have to. What's interesting is that, like, with if you don't know how to do it yourself, and with the help of Joy, for example, you can try and get in touch with that, because this is the biggest problem that I find in business, because I am very busy and I am doing all the time. Then I'm trying to have quality time with my family, which my mind is all still there. So I'm in the zone. So they look at me, but I'm not there. That creates a next level of overwhelm, and that's sort of like there is no end to it. And yet when we went on holidays a couple of weeks ago, it was just, there was no work, so it was a nice freedom connection, and I could feel so much more creative.
Yes, exactly.
I made much more sales that 1 week than the months before.
You get much more done, because it just flows in a way that is of your highest benefit. So it will always flow in the way that is good for you. So as you say, you get more done.
But then what happens?
That inner child is just so important.
It's so, exactly. But what happens then, Joy, and this is a question that you probably can give maybe some sort of advice to us. I came back with a full intention of having a lighter schedule, where I can also implement like journaling, meditation, exercise, and then do my stuff, because I saw that I don't have to spend all this time. Nothing like this happened. I am completely like constantly doing, learning and everything, but I don't feel like I have any time for myself, and I'm making any time I have then for my family. As I said, it's not really 100% there either. So this is an overwhelm. This is a struggle. So how would you advise me to just, what are the first steps I need to take right now to change this? Because this is a state of mind, I think, and how do I get out of it? It's a prison.
Yeah, it is a prison. And one of the ways that we do it is we recognize, or we become aware of the aspects that we're playing out, the characters that we're playing out. So we're not just, one person and that's it. We are a mixture of many different characters that we play. It's almost like they're playing on a stage in the theatre of life. And so if we can identify what those aspects are, so for example, you might have an aspect that is Mrs. Time Master or Mistress, that's telling you you have to do it by this time and you have to set this schedule and you have to and sometimes if you're not aware that that is happening, you can fall under its spell and get controlled by it. So the ego is dominating you rather than your free spirit dominating or mastering the ego. So if you recognize that you've got an aspect called Time Mistress, then you can actually spend maybe a week observing her with compassionate awareness and just, maybe write a couple of things. Oh, she came up today and she told me to do this and she told me to do that, without necessarily having to do anything about it to change things. You're just observing it. And what happens is when you're doing that, you develop a disconnect. You kind of step back because you're watching it from a place of witnessing, a compassionate observer, which is closer to the real truth of who you are. And so, this loses its power to dominate. And from that place, then you will be able to get some clarity about how to go forward in terms of, your schedule and the heaviness of the tasks, because you will be telling Mrs. Time Mistress how to work rather than Mrs. Time Mistress telling you. So that's, one of the ways that we do it.
It's a very interesting concept, actually. I know that we are playing roles. Absolutely. That's up my street. I get it straight away. When you were saying that it's a theater and we're wearing different hats and we're wearing different masks, I get it. Even though we had an interview earlier and I said, look, no, I'm not wearing masks. Of course, a little bit you do, always. There is, depending on what you're doing at the moment. But what I never thought of is that you can observe that personality.
It's a great practice. It's really freeing. I mean, I had a client who, because we do this as a practice, she identified, and we give them names as well, funny names. She identified one aspect as anti-terrier. The reason she said that was because, a little terrier dog is like when it hangs onto a bone, it doesn't let go. It will hang on and hang on and hang on. And she had this thing that played out in her life where she was hanging on to the room had to be tidy. As soon as anything was left on the table, you have to put it in the drawer. With her children and with her husband, she was like a tyrant, this anti-terrier. So she was invited to observe it for the week. And she did start to observe it, and first of all, you're still caught up by it, so you watch it, but you're still caught up. But at some point you start to dissociate. And she said that she found herself one day, when she was just about to rant and rave, about something that was out of place, she burst out laughing because she said it was just so ridiculous to watch this happening and, know that it wasn't really her. And with that, the whole family relaxed. They all relaxed because they could see she was laughing. She wasn't buying into it anymore. And the whole relationship in that family changed from that moment on. So that's the kind of change that can happen. If you, have this thing where you're observing Mrs. Time Mistress.
This is amazing.
It will relax. It will change things completely.
Can I tell you a story? Last week I was on Facebook and I saw one of my people that I follow talked about getting an iPhone X, and I am an Android girl, but the iPhone is important because Facebook, I teach things about Facebook, and Apple, they have some sort of in cahoots relationships because all features always come out on the iPhone and then only months later on the Android. So I never wanted to have an iPhone just for a phone, but I kind of feel like I need one. But I don't want to give Apple all this money as well because I don't want the phone. So there is this kind of whole struggle. And when I saw that she was buying the phone, the new Apple, the new app came out, Facebook Creator, that just has loads of cool features, and I want it. So I said, oh no, I have to buy the iPhone. So I went to my husband, who is he is anti-Apple completely. Not Apple, we have a MacBook that we love, it works very well, but the iPhones and iPads, because they are made with, 2 years later you have to upgrade and all that. And I went to him and it was the same conversation where we went into this, I knew he's going to disapprove that, and I came up and we were arguing, and and he was telling me all these reasons why I don't have to have it, and I was giving him all the reasons why I had to have him. And then I just said to him, so what was the what is this? He said, it's going to be another device, it's going to go away. And I just realized at that moment that, just like you said, I just observed what was happening there, and I realized that I'm reacting to him, but actually he just wants me to be a little bit more with him. And fair enough, because I'm on Facebook all the time. So of course. And I was just bursting out laughing looking at him. And you know what? That there was no argument from that moment in my head. It was just such a pleasant environment. And I realized that all his resistance is all just because he loves me so much, and he just can't bear a thought of sharing me with this new toy. You know, we both have obsessive personalities, so we do disappear when a new gadget appears in our lives. And that's, as you said, you just want to laugh. I just laughed. He was like, why are you laughing at me? And I'm just laughing. And I said, thank you so much, because I'd actually, not only I know that there is no issue about the iPhone, that doesn't matter, but I also just got reaffirmed that we have amazing relationships and you really care for me. And that's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, there's lots of realizations like this that can really make your life a lot easier, and that allows the creativity to flow better and makes it easier to get your message out there. I mean, there's also one of the things that drives a lot of us is this thing that we need to achieve, for example. And very often we're taught that as children, you know, especially, well, for me, I came out of poverty, and my parents wanted us to climb socially, so the emphasis is on achieve. Yeah. And so, you know, you go for the exams and you get your A-level, you go to uni and all of that, you know. But then you've learned that pattern, and it becomes a pattern in your life if you're not aware of it. So you might be actually just running a business online because you want to achieve and for no other reason. However, it's not bringing you happiness, because if you're focused on just wanting to achieve, it's not a fulfilling thing to do.
No.
You know, it's a doing. It's not a being. And so if you can get to the root of that, you know, another thing that we do in our work is we dive in, deep soul diving, and we reach those memories from the past where patterns have started to be set into place. And we empty that, or we dissolve the conditioning, so that you end up not needing to be an achiever. You can set goals, you can set plans, but you don't attach to them so strongly that they strangle you, you know. So you become free to express yourself more holistically, more authentically. So, you know, uncovering patterns like that, pattern of struggle is another one. A lot of people are involved in a pattern of struggle, and they feel like they have to struggle to make themselves survive, struggle to make the business grow, struggle to get the family raised, you know, struggle to get them to school, all of these things. But it's all based on this identity that they've got around struggle. So where did they get that identity in the first place? We weren't born in this world with the idea of struggle. You know, we learnt it from someone. So if we can get to the root of that and let go of struggle and actually learn that things can be easy, it's okay. It's all right for it to be easy. We're allowed, you know. It can be such a much more enjoyable journey for us.
You know, the secret I've learned, actually, and it's not that it happens to me on a daily basis. It's not that I'm a master of this, but the more you feel things are easy, the more these things that you want to do are happening. The moment when you're desperate and you think you're struggling, things are not happening. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to promote your business, you have something like, let's say, a new offer and you're trying to sell it. If here you're in a desperate mode and you feel, you know, like it's a struggle, no sales. The moment here you just feel like it's easy and enjoyable, everything sold out. And this is like, it so goes hand in hand in business, how you feel about it. I really truly believe that's how you get this. I do believe that money is this energy, and it depends on what's here, if it's coming to you or not. 100%. I just wish I mastered this. It's very interesting.
Money was a person, what kind of person would it be? I mean, it is a great question to ask.
Yes, it is. I don't know. I have to think about it. I don't know. Actually, never thought about that. But I love it because
people would see money as a monster.
Wow.
As a big hairy biker or something, you know. And so we need to look at our relationship with money and turn it into a money honey. You know, something that is really...
Yeah, this money honey thing, yeah. A lot of people are saying this. For me, it's still words. It needs to create, and I love what you just suggested, actually. Imagine as a person, thank you so much, actually. This is now, I need an aha moment to learn. Yeah, so this was one of them, because I never thought about, I was so confused about this money honey, and I follow a few people, and I even took a course on how to, you know, take over, and all this money honey, and I'm like, how do I get my head around this? Because I know I need to get my head, but that's a great idea.
What relationship are you having? You know, how intimate are you getting?
What are they going to look like?
That person, that money person, to give you what you want, or are you, fighting that person, that kind of thing, or are you running away from it because it's scary, all of this relationship that we have.
This is so interesting. Tell me this, when in your techniques, do you use psychology or do you tap into other world of things?
I'm actually trained as a therapeutic counsellor, but I also, what started things off for me was, I don't know if you've heard of inner journey work. I was suffering from chronic fatigue, and I went to this weekend session where we went into an inner journey, and I accessed some traumatic memories from the past and released them. And in that one weekend, I was freed of chronic fatigue after 6 years.
Wow.
So that was just absolutely amazing. And that kind of hooked me into, I must learn more about this. Yeah. And I trained in it, and I served with the team for a while. And then since then, I've been adding things to my belt, so I've learned things like NLP and Reiki, energetic processing, and EZC, and all kinds of things. So I now work more intuitively. So I've got all these things that I can pull it out of a hat when I need, but I work intuitively, and I've been working with this for a long time, over 30 years in this field, and developing that connection so that you can actually, read the energies of people and see what's going on, and then help them to connect with that for themselves. So it's a mixture of things.
That's very interesting. I'm a sucker for all these things because I truly believe that all the answers are within us, and sometimes yes, you need to tap in and release, and I think the biggest problem is that people don't know how to tap in, how to release. And I definitely, I still, some things I know they're there somewhere, I just wish I knew how to have a look inside.
Very big on the how. So, I really feel that we need to know things experientially. And that's where the how comes in. Not just in the head. We need to know our truth experientially. So.
That's so true. That's so
it
true.
Transforms, and that's why I'm called truly transformational.
But it is so. So tell me this now. One of the most important things as well in even starting to transform like this is to learn how to be present, isn't it? How to be in the now. And this is something that entrepreneurs and even those like me who are aware of that, and sometimes we're too busy to slow down. What would be a tip or advice on how to, let's say from tomorrow, how to start slowing down?
Well, let's do it from now. I mean, it only needs to take a minute or two, okay? So the first thing that we need to do is start breathing and focusing on the breath. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to access stillness, because stillness is the space where wisdom comes through. It's a gateway to the heart, the gateway to the soul. So let's just take a deep breath in through the nose and pause at the top of the breath for about 4 seconds. And then breathe out through the mouth and pause at the bottom of the breath for 4 seconds. So just do that a few times at your own pace. Breathing in through the nose, pausing at the top of the breath, and out, and pausing at the bottom of the breath. And notice the stillness that is there in the pause. It's a beautiful stillness.
That's where all the answers
come. Where the magic happens.
Yeah.
And so that's what we cultivate in mindful awareness, cultivating that stillness where everything just stops. It's like you're at the bottom of an ocean, and everything might be happening at the top, so all your thoughts might be going through like waves on the top of the ocean, but you are at the bottom, in the depths, in the stillness, just allowing everything to happen, but you're in this presence. And you can see everything that's going on, but it's not rocking you. Okay, so you can watch your thoughts, you can watch your feelings, you can just allow for something to arise. And things do arise, because the language of the soul, the language of the heart, is by metaphor usually. So you'll get an image, or you get a feeling coming out, and an image can speak 1,000 words. I mean, I remember an image coming up for me once when I was grieving the loss of being able to have children. I had a cancer, hysterectomy, and so that's it, no more children. I was still quite young, and I had this image. I was journeying on this issue. I was on a magic carpet, and on this magic carpet there was a nest of eggs, and it's like, oh, what are those eggs for? And then as I was watching them, the eggs started to crack open, And as they cracked open, these little, what I would call angel birds, flew up to heaven, and they were my ovaries, and they said, "We're waiting for you here." And from that point on, I understood exactly, and I wasn't able to grieve anymore. The grieving just completely stopped. It's amazing. It's so powerful.
I'm tearing up. This is amazing, and I've experienced this in the moments of stillness as well. We were discussing this with my husband not being well this year, and I think that thank you so much for reminding me. Actually, this is something that I used to practice. I haven't done this for now months, but when you're breathing and you're stopping in between the breaths, one of my mentors called it, you're talking to your soul, and that's where the soul message is coming up, like the one that you just described, and I had that thing as well when I found out that my husband is very sick, and the message that came up was like, everything is okay. And that moment, just from that moment on, I knew everything is okay, no matter how hard it was, maybe on the surface later on. But I knew it, and that was the knowledge that was the truth, and now I know it was the right message for me. It was the truthful message of my soul. So this is fantastic. This is a really, really amazing and so simple. Simple. So the only thing we need to remember is to schedule it in our timeline. Because this is where I just get caught up in things. And
once an hour, maybe just put a little alarm on your phone. Okay, breathe. That's even right. If it's just for 1 minute, half a minute even. It will really pay its benefit.
Wow, this is so... I didn't expect this to go so deep tonight. But yes, this is fantastic. So breathing, of course. Okay, I have one more question before I let Joy go. I want Joy to tell me how to find joy in your lives.
I'm here.
That's right. But let's talk about two things. Let's talk about how to find joy, discover joy, and then where can we find joy here on Facebook?
Okay. Joy resides in gratitude and appreciation. If you start to practice this, then joy automatically comes into your experience. Joy is one of the most beautiful aspects of love. Love is the basis of the universe. When you connect with your inner, joy just naturally arises. You don't have to make it happen or do things to bring joy into your life, apart from just be still and allow it to arise. But one of the greatest practices for that is gratitude and appreciation. As soon as you start to get into that everyday practice of it, joy just comes naturally. Like children are full of joy. Even without gratitude and appreciation, but for us that brings us back to our childhood nature, our inner child, our spontaneity and delight. We can take delight in things. We can practice taking delight in looking at nature. When I go to work in the morning, I walk past trees and the blue sky. When it's a blue sky, it's so beautiful. And I'll just appreciate how lovely the trees are in autumn, in winter, in spring, in summer. They're all different. Appreciating. People are always telling you need to practice appreciation and gratitude, but it's such a magical key. I can't emphasize it more. It's not just something. Oh yeah, I know I need to practice gratitude. But if you actually start it, it transforms you again. It's really transformed. It brings joy into your life. Things start to feel easy. You feel like there's no lack in your life. And joy comes from feeling full, fulfilled, contented, peaceful. So that's the way in.
It's so true. It's so true. I agree, because I have done this, and as I mentioned multiple times on this interview, I just haven't been doing it for the last. I've done it when we found out that my husband is sick in April, and I've done a lot of it to get me through, and it really, really did help. And then when things started working out, I just got too busy in doing what I was doing, rather than actually continuing with it, where I think maybe I would have done so much more if I have continued.
It does take practice, but there comes a time when it becomes automatic. So if you practice it long enough, then it automatically comes out. So it's just spend the time creating the habit.
It's like with everything, isn't it? It's like with what I teach about Facebook. You create your system, you implement your system, it becomes a habit. Then it becomes like second nature. You don't even think about it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
And things work because the things are being done. It's the same with this kind of stuff, and protecting your own, and not protecting is a negative word, I think. Maybe just reconnecting with yourself. That's
definitely reconnecting, because we've separated from ourselves over the years. It's a process of reconnecting.
It was absolutely beautiful talk. Joy, thank you so much. Now, where can our audience find you?
I have a group called Truly Transformational, which is a free group, which anybody is welcome to come along. If you just put Truly Transformational in the search box, you'll probably come across me there. I have a page called Truly Transformational, but also the group. And in the group, we do a lot of things. I do regular FB lives, and I give lots of tips and techniques, and there's a lot to share there. And we're a thriving group. Now I will answer all your questions there. We can do some stuff together, whatever you want to do towards opening to your greater self. I'm there for you. I'm there to support you and have fun as well. Recently, we were doing a puddle jumping challenge to get in touch with our childhood nature. And I also had recently another challenge where on engagement, the one who had the most engagement just won a free session with me worth £200. And so that person was very happy,
Wow.
Did a lot of posts and a lot of comments and got the prize. So we do challenges in there, competitions, so that's good too.
That's brilliant. And I'm part of that group as well, and with even my busy schedule that I keep moaning about, I have if I see Joy on and I'm even doing something and I know that I'm going to tune in, and I know that there'll be something, she's talking about something, and then all of a sudden she goes into this guided meditation. I love guided meditations, but only when your phone is off.
Yeah, this is the thing.
I was on one and the phone kept ringing. I was like, digital distraction. But that was funny. But no, I'm just messing. But really, really, truly, it does help, because especially when you're busy. For me, even being part of the Truly Transformational group, even though I admit I'm not a very active member, but that did help and did bring a lot of goodness on those days when you're, you need that reminder. You need to get off this busy life and just do it for yourself and for your own goodness. And then what happens is that when you're managing your how would I put it? If you are managing your inner self, your creativity processes, and times where you are more creative, less creative, which happens when you slow down, then you can see exactly when you're creative, when you're not. And when you work with your creativity patterns, you achieve so much more. You're not procrastinating. You just do the thing very quickly. Everything is done. You're happy. And then you can go and relax. And this is what we want to have a good life. We want to be, we want to be in tune with ourselves. We want to feel good. Life doesn't have to be hard. Life is not hard. Don't listen to your mom and dad who said that.
And we don't have to separate it off. One of my messages is that we can actually be in connection with ourselves in everyday life. We can actually meditate while doing the dishes, for example, and enjoy doing the dishes and appreciate and take delight in, the colour of the bubbles with the, with the rainbows, in the water, and making the dishes clean and making it, it feels nice when you tidy up, doesn't it? Even though when you first start, it might feel like a burden. But, if you can get into that connection while you're doing things, that it can become just a whole enjoyable experience, everything that you do.
That's so true. That's such a great tip. Great tip. Thanks a million, Joy, for joining me tonight. And I hope everybody enjoyed this. I know they did. If you have any questions for Joy, please pop them in the comments here, and I'm sure she will come and reply. And I'm going to make it so easy for you. I'm going to put a link to the Truly Transformational group that you should join and start taking care of your inner self so much more from now on. Joy, thank you. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you next week. Have a great Sunday night. Bye.